The story takes place in Rondo, Texas, back in 1988. In this quiet little town, there is a small bar run by a father and daughter, Owen and Lena. But life here is far from peaceful. Every single day feels tense, mainly because a spoiled and dangerous man named Clyde keeps causing trouble. He is the son of a powerful local crime boss, and he makes sure everyone knows it. One day, Clyde shows up and starts questioning why Lena has not been working at his father's brewery. He openly harasses her right in front of Owen. The old man burns with anger and tries to stand up to him, but he is confined to a wheelchair and too weak to actually do anything. In the end, all he can do is watch. Later, Lena stares at a photo of her late husband, Ryan, a special forces soldier who died in combat. Overwhelmed and exhausted by the fear that surrounds their town, she quietly prays for someone, anyone, to bring peace back to Rondo. And as if her prayer is answered that very same day, a mysterious drifter arrives in town. People simply call him the Nameless Man. The first place he visits is Vernon's diner. He offers to do any kind of odd job, asking for almost nothing in return. Even just a little food would be enough. Vernon feels sorry for him and gives him a small task fixing a wooden shelf. But he also warns him that Rondo is not welcoming to strangers. That warning proves true almost immediately. Sheriff Wiley walks in, spots the unfamiliar face, and without much explanation tells the Nameless Man to leave town as soon as possible. Not long after, we are introduced to Jeremiah, a wealthy local businessman and Clyde's father. On the surface, he owns the town's brewery. In reality, the brewery is just a cover. His true fortune comes from selling illegal narcotics and other misused substances. This is why Clyde had been pressuring Lena earlier. Everyone in Rondo is forced to play a part in Jeremiah's hidden operation. At the same time, Jeremiah's right-hand man, Zeke, summons one of the townspeople who has been forced to work for them. Jeremiah reveals that he is under investigation because the man's wife, Vivian, secretly reported his illegal activities. He issues a cold and clear warning that this kind of betrayal will not happen again. Meanwhile, the Nameless Man tries to rent a room at a motel, but he does not have enough money. So once again, he goes looking for work. This time, he ends up at Owen's bar. When Owen realizes that the drifter used to serve in special forces, he is reminded of his late son-in-law. Moved by that connection, he offers the Nameless Man a job. Soon the stranger is cleaning up and helping around the bar. Lena, however, is not pleased. She does not trust outsiders, especially not in a town controlled by men like Clyde. Having a stranger around could put them in even more danger. And right on cue, Clyde and his men walk into the bar. Owen quickly explains that the Nameless Man is only passing through and will leave soon. Clyde makes it clear that once the stranger finishes his business, he better be gone. It turns out Clyde does not give up easily. He keeps approaching Lena again and again, and every single time she rejects him. Through all of it, the Nameless Man says nothing. He simply watches. That night, after receiving his pay, Owen insists that he stay for dinner. But Lena apologizes to him. It is not that she is ungrateful or unwilling to help. She just hopes he will not come back. In her mind, his presence only brings more danger. Still, the Nameless Man now has enough money to spend the night at the motel. And whatever kind of past he carries, it clearly is not a peaceful one. Every night, memories of combat follow him into his sleep, reminders of a battlefield he has never truly left behind. Instead of leaving town the next morning, he shows up at the bar again and continues working. Lena is furious with her father for hiring him again. And then exactly what she feared happens. Clyde storms in and sees the Nameless Man still there. Enraged, he lashes out and strikes Lena in front of everyone. That is the moment the Nameless Man can no longer stand by. He steps in and beats Clyde and his men, forcing them out of the bar. And in that moment, the fire that would consume Rondo was finally lit. This is hellfire. Seeing that kind of courage from someone she thought was just a wandering stranger begins to change Lena's perspective. Around this time, the truth about Jeremiah's control over the town becomes clearer. He pays the townspeople to keep quiet and strictly forbids anyone from leaving. He cannot risk his operation being exposed. That is why outsiders are never welcome in Rondo. Humiliated and bruised, Clyde runs home and complains to his father like a spoiled child who lost a fight. Zeke is ready to handle the situation immediately, but Jeremiah is cautious. Instead of escalating things right away, he decides to send the sheriff to push the Nameless Man out of town. News of the fight spreads quickly. The townspeople grow uneasy. To them, the stranger's presence only means more trouble, even if he used to be special forces. Meanwhile, the Nameless Man makes a phone call to someone from his past. The man on the other end is shocked to learn that he is still alive and speaks with a tone of deep respect. Whoever the Nameless Man truly is, it is clear that he once held serious weight. Without hesitation, his old contact agrees to help if needed. Soon after, the sheriff arrives to do his job. This time, the nameless man is ready for him. He calmly reveals that he has just contacted an old associate, Colonel Jack Hollister, the commander of the United States Army Special Forces. Even so, he offers the sheriff a chance to walk away quietly as long as he and Jeremiah stop disturbing the town. The sheriff leaves and reports everything to Jeremiah. Jeremiah dismisses it as a bluff. He believes he knows exactly who Jack Hollister is, a commander who supposedly died long ago in combat. Convinced that the threat is empty, Jeremiah immediately orders Zeke to send his men and take care of the problem once and for all. Back at the bar, Lena finally asks why the nameless man is willing to go this far. He keeps his answer simple. He says he does not want to repeat the mistakes he once made. That is all he offers. Feeling unsafe after everything that has happened, Lena asks him to stay the night at the bar instead of the motel. In return, he asks her to drive him somewhere the next morning. The next day, Lena takes him to the location he requested. On the way, she deliberately stops the car and shows him where Jeremiah runs his dirty operation. She explains that his business often involves Mexican cartels and corrupt politicians. It is much bigger than just a small-town scheme. They eventually arrive at an empty stretch of land. Not long after, a small plane lands nearby. Lena watches as the nameless man receives a bag. When she sees what is inside, she is stunned. The bag is filled with firearms. He calmly makes it clear that those weapons are about to be used. He has already noticed that Jeremiah's men have been following them. And right on cue, the ambush begins. Gunfire erupts as the car speeds down the road. Jeremiah's men pull alongside them, forcing Lena to swerve hard to avoid losing control. The nameless man directs her toward an abandoned building, turning it into the next battleground. Inside, he moves with precision and experience. He returns fire while guiding Lena to stay safe. Realizing that her presence limits his movement, he tells her to hide and hands her a weapon for protection. Then he takes down one of the attackers who has been chasing him. But Lena's hiding spot does not remain secret for long. One of the remaining gunmen finds her and prepares to finish the job. At the last second, a single bullet drops him. The shot comes from the nameless man. By nightfall, they return to the bar. But what waits for them is far worse than another ambush. The townspeople are already under Clyde's control. Clyde does not waste time. He brutally attacks the nameless man, beating him until he collapses, bloodied and barely conscious. With him down, Clyde takes advantage of the chaos and drags Lena away. Zeke tries to warn Clyde that this is not what Jeremiah ordered, but Clyde does not care. He ignores the warning and even threatens Zeke for questioning him. Barely conscious, the nameless man witnesses the horror that follows. Zeke carries out Jeremiah's orders and massacres everyone inside the bar. The place that once felt like the heart of the town becomes a scene of tragedy. Afterward, the bodies are loaded up and taken away. Clyde drives off with Lena, heading to his house. But when the men return to deal with the nameless man, they are stunned. He is gone. They immediately spread out to search for him, not realizing they are hunting someone far more dangerous than they ever imagined. Within moments, the nameless man emerges from the shadows and starts taking them down one by one. Then the sheriff arrives, gun raised. The nameless man pauses for a moment, clearly shaken by the sight of innocent townspeople lying dead. Meanwhile, Clyde brings Lena to his father. Jeremiah is displeased when he learns of Clyde's reckless plan involving her. His reaction makes it clear that Lena is nothing more than a disposable pawn in his eyes. Elsewhere, the sheriff transports the nameless man to the brewery, where Zeke is waiting. But the sheriff's loyalty means nothing in the end. Jeremiah had ordered that all loose ends be tied up, including the very man who had been doing his dirty work. The sheriff is executed on the spot. Inside the patrol car, the nameless man does not sit still. Using a piece of wire and sheer determination, he frees himself from his handcuffs. By the time Zeke moves to finish him, it is already too late. The nameless man escapes and begins eliminating Zeke's men one after another. A fierce gunfight breaks out between him and Zeke. Eventually, they run low on ammunition and are forced into hand-to-hand combat. Zeke is strong and relentless, and for a moment, the nameless man struggles. But experience wins out. He maneuvers the fight to a higher platform in the warehouse, limiting Zeke's movement. In the end, he uses a piece of cloth to finish him off, leaving Zeke hanging. Not long after, Clyde arrives at the factory. He barely has time to react before a single shot from the nameless man ends his life instantly. Lena is devastated when she learns her father is dead, but there is no time to grieve. The nameless man takes her to confront Jeremiah, not just for revenge, but to finally free the town from the man who has poisoned it for years. When he finally stands face to face with Jeremiah, the truth comes out. The mysterious drifter is none other than Colonel Jack Hollister himself. It also becomes clear that Jeremiah was once his superior in the military. Even during his service and long after, Jeremiah had always been involved in corrupt and illegal operations. Years ago, he sent Jack and his unit on a mission that was nothing more than a trap, designed to cover up his own crimes. Every member of Jack's team was killed. That mission became the source of the trauma that has haunted him ever since. His long journey was never random. He had been searching for the truth behind his comrades' deaths. And now that he knows Jeremiah was responsible, he does not hesitate. He ends Jeremiah's life by burning him alive. That same night, the nameless man and Lena give the townspeople a proper burial. The next morning, Lena watches him prepare to leave once again. When she wonders where he is headed this time, it is clear that he has no intention of settling down. He will continue wandering, carrying his past with him as he moves on to whatever comes next. So the moral of the story is never mess with a quiet drifter who just wants a job. He might be a one-man army on a revenge tour.